All right, next question here. To reward yourself for that successful workout in the previous problem, you decide to bake some brownies, right? And so now we're going to let T of B, right, this function T of B, be the time in minutes it takes to bake B brownies. First question, once again, is what are the units of T prime of B? Now here is a place where there's a lot of mistakes. So one common mistake that I see a lot among my students, right, is that the moment we see a time, we're very tempted to say, oh, it's just going to be brownies per time, right? It's very common to see a time and just automatically assume it's going to be our independent variable. However, that's not the case here, right? Because notice T of B is the time. So T is actually our dependent variable. The time is our dependent variable. So my point here is be very careful, right? Be very careful about about interpreting what your dependent and independent variables are. Don't always assume time will be an independent variable. A lot of cases it is, but not in this case. So be careful, because it's very easy to write a question like this that'll trick you up if you keep following that assumption. Okay? Always stick to the formula. The formula is it's going to be units of y over units of x, which is just going to be, in this case, is just going to be minutes per brownie. Right? This is the units of T and the units of B. Over there. Fantastic. So that's the first part done. Next part, assume T prime of B is positive everywhere. How could we interpret this? Well, you might remember, right, that when the derivative is positive, right, this tells us that the original function T of B is increasing everywhere, right? T of B is increasing everywhere, right? Because if the derivative is positive, that means that the function is increasing, the original function is increasing, right? So given this, how could we interpret this in the context of this problem? Well, that tells us, right, that the more brownies we bake, right, the more brownies we bake, in other words, as B gets larger and larger, then the more time it's going to take. The more brownies we bake, the longer it will take. And hey, that rhymes. Pretty cool. But yeah, the idea is that as B gets bigger, because T is increasing everywhere, T is also going to get bigger. Right? That's the idea there. Last question. Let T prime of 10 equal 5. Interpret this in words. Well, once again, just to set this up, this is saying that the instantaneous rate of change of T at B equals 5 is at B equals 10, my apologies, at B equals 10 equals or is 5, right? So what that tells us is that when we're baking 10 brownies, right, the baking time, the total baking time is it's increasing at this 5 here is going to be 5 minutes per brownie, right? 5 minutes per brownie, right? So that's a pretty neat idea there. So another way you could think about this is, okay, so if we were to bake maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, around 10, right? If we were to bake a little bit more or a little bit less around 10, so maybe like 11 brownies, for example, or 9 brownies, this would tell us how much more or less time this entire thing would take, right? So that's an idea we will revisit in the next two problems, right? So, but that's basically what's going on here. And once again, be careful to include units for both of these quantities. If you found this video helpful, please do like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and check out some other videos. See you next time!